Hello guys and welcome to episode 16 of Park Golf TV. Hopefully the sound should be a little bit better this week. It was quite windy last week, which you'd only realise once you've done the video. But hey ho, we've got it out there and I think you got the main points on bunker rules anyway. So this week we're in the sim studio, as I said. We're quite excited to say that we're now working with Lee Harpin at Roe-on-Sea Golf Club. He's providing us with golf clubs to be able to do some reviews and tests on, and hopefully point you in the right direction of clubs that are going to suit you, your ability, and if all these adjustments and latest techie things really do work. So Luke is going to be hitting the ball and giving his recommendations. Obviously what you got to realise is not all the clubs are necessarily going to be set up for Luke. You've got quite a specialised shaft in your M1, haven't you? So, yeah, we're going to be basing it on feel.
Yeah, looks.
Feel, looks, and our own personal preference. And, as I say, not necessarily distance. It's not all about outright power. Just what we think is going to be the best performing club for you. So, we'll crack on.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, guys, I'm going to grab a driver, see what we start off with here. So, I've got the Cobra FlyZ Plus, blue-headed. It's available, obviously, with Cobra. I don't know if you've seen, but they offer a wide range of colours on their club heads. Makes it a bit more interesting. You can have something different to everyone else. This is a club aimed at the better player. It's got the adjustable centre of gravity, which you're seeing a lot with club manufacturers now. So, you know, obviously the beauty about modern drivers is there's so much adjustability. We can really change the way they perform, especially with the centre of gravity adjustment. Again, most people that struggle to get the ball in the air, they obviously have this little gold plate here at the back. People who struggle to keep it down, you know, obviously you've got the option of moving that forward. It's going to lower the centre of gravity, bring your spin rate down, hopefully lowering your ball flight as well. With the Cobra, obviously we know Cobra have always prided themselves on maintaining high ball speeds on miss hits. On this particular driver, they've now got the speed channel, which runs along the outside of the club face. Again, that's designed to help maintain, you know, better ball speeds on your miss hits, because obviously we can't always find, no matter how good of a player we are, always find the centre. So that's a good little bit for that. Appearance, this club head is pretty attractive when you put it down. Sits very nice, looks appealing. There's no offset to this driver at all. So the shaft I've got on this is a stiff flex, so it recommends on here for a swing speed of just over 95 miles an hour. So I'm going to give this a go. It's set to 11.5, it's a bit set high for me. I'm going to swing this pretty easy. I'd say not really bothered about what distance it gives me, I'm just going to give you kind of my opinion on feel, stuff like that. So hit a couple of shots. So I'm only going to hit this pretty easy sort of swing speed really. I'd say looks wise it's definitely really nice and attractive look. So again, feel off that was pretty nice. Let's hit another one. Sorry? Okay, so let's hit another one. So despite it being lofted, a bit too lofted for myself, and obviously the centre of gravity's set a bit back on this, it actually again feels quite nice. It's certainly a club that I could certainly put in my bag in terms of looks wise. Just going to hit one more. You're swinging at that speed. In fact, what was I swinging there? Around 100, so I've taken quite a bit off. The shaft feels pretty stable for me at that speed. It's you know, feels pretty solid, that shaft, to be fair. Okay, last one. Again, very high. But again, overall feel and looks of this driver are very nice. It's difficult to give a rating, but in terms of how I'm trying to swing it, the shaft at that speed, obviously I said before that they're aiming this shaft here with a little sticker on it saying it's designed for somebody who swings it around about 95 plus. It definitely feels good enough to cope. I've been swinging those at 100. It's definitely good enough to cope with that sort of speed. It's certainly not feeling miles behind. But I think most people, especially if you're a slightly better player, put that down, you'll be quite impressed with the look of the club. I'd say there's certainly no, for me, downsides or horrible feel off that club. It's really nice. And again, price-wise, obviously Cobra are always a little bit, a bit more reasonably priced, if you like, than some of the other brands you can see. So that's again another good point of the Cobra. Okay. Got the Titleist D3 915. Quite a popular driver. It's got the Aldilla shaft in it. It's going to give this a little go. So this is the Aldilla Rogue. This is a stiff flex. It's set to 9.5 at the moment. So obviously we know with Titleist they've designed this to be their lowest spinning driver. So again, people who really struggling with backspin, obviously it's a massive cause of loss of distance, how much you spin the golf ball. So most golfers kind of have their spin rate in the mid 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. This is hopefully, without having to change your swing, will bring that spin rate down, create a bit more of a penetrating ball flight, give you a bit more run when you're out there playing. So let's see how this feels. So I've hit the Cobra. That felt quite a solid feel of face. Personally, I've always preferred the drivers that feel a bit dull, a bit more solid compared to the tinny kind of feel. I'm sure if you've hit a few drivers yourselves, you'll can relate to those kind of phrases. I certainly, some drivers in the past have felt really tinny and hollow. They feel very weak. So let's see how this one feels. Again, looks-wise, put it behind the ball. The Titleist always has the classic, look to it. It's a lovely looking club. Sadly, you don't get all the colour choices that Cobra offer. So again, I'm just going to swing this around about 100 miles an hour, so we're going to be pretty easy. I'll swing out a little bit faster, actually. So distance-wise, considering how I hit that pretty comfortably then, it's, the spin rate was pretty good on that one, really. Spinning just below 2,000, which is a really good number, especially if you get the right launch, which I did on that one. So the ultimate spin rate, the perfect scenario is 1,700 spin with a 17 launch. It's actually perfect numbers for your ideal long drives. Obviously, what you don't want is a low launch with high spin. That ball is just going to go nowhere. So again, this is the beauty about having a little sort of fitting or any sort of go with your own clubs on something like the GC2. You can kind of find out instantly, especially if you've got an adjustable driver. Instead of guessing out on the golf course what's your ideal setting, 10 minutes later, a few shots in here, you find out straight away what your setting is. Again, that felt pretty solid off the face. Going to try another one. Again, the shaft felt, again, really nice, really solid. Again, a bit higher that time, but again, pretty much landing exact same spot. And again, just roll out just below 300 yards, brought my swing speed down a little bit that time. Again, numbers off this Titleist are actually really good. And again, the Aldilla shaft, the Rogue shaft feels really solid. Feels I can control the face quite nicely. I'm not losing it throughout the shot at all. That's a really good looking club, to be fair. So let's hit one more with the Titleist. Might put this in the bag. It's hitting it pretty easy, but it's going, as you hopefully saw there, all landing within a couple of yards of each other. So again, in terms of the spin rate, I actually expected this to spin more, but again, obviously, Titleist design is doing its job exactly how it says. It's pretty good. So I've hit 2 so far there. My personal choice, if I had to play one of those 2 at the moment, would be the Titleist. Not because the distance at all. Obviously the Cobra, as I said before, wasn't quite set up to my perfect spec, nor was the Titleist, but it's more I got a feel off the club face, and the Titleist just feels a little bit more solid for me. So next up I've got the Nike Vapor. I'm sure you'll be familiar with seeing this on the TV a lot. Obviously, you see players like Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy play in this particular club. In fact, most of the Nike staff players have all got this lovely looking green-headed club. Again, behind the ball, very, very nice appearance, looks a lovely little club. So I've got the Fubuki shaft. This is a stiff flex, 50 gram shaft. So again, it's quite light for myself. Again, you have a lot of adjustments with the Nike. So it goes all the way down from 8 to 12 degrees aloft. Again, so offers you a lot more options, which again is great, you know, especially if you play in different conditions. And it's always fun to kind of change your driver just by, you know, a simple torque key. So let's give this a little whack. Yeah, just clear these shots. Actually, they're the tightest ones. Thank you, Steve. Hopefully it'll be as consistent as the Titleist. Again, feel off to the face. I didn't quite hit that out the middle. It was a little bit out the neck, but again, felt pretty good. Again, it's straight after that one. I still prefer the Titleist in terms of feel off the face. I'm going to go again. Hopefully find a better strike than that one. Quite far apart in terms of dispersion, those two. Again, my personal opinion would be with a Nike, it just feels a little bit weak, as I was saying before, about that tinny kind of feel. This kind of almost has that for me, just feels a bit weak. So, one more. Yeah, so again, this shows again the beauty about grabbing a few drives and testing. For me, I'd pretty much rule this one straight out. And again, after, you only really have to hit a couple of shots, you know kind of instantly whether you like the feel. You know, when it comes to modern drivers, as much as they like to advertise the fact that you're going to gain 20, 30 yards, between the big companies, it's more the fact it comes down to feel, looks. Certainly one club is not going to go 20 yards further than the other. It's just not going to happen. Obviously, if you get the right spec for you, that is again as well with obviously the right shaft, the right loft setting, and obviously the right centre of gravity. But yeah, I wouldn't personally pick the Nike really straight away off those few shots, that's for sure. So I think it'd have to go at the bottom of the pile for me out of the three. So it'd be, so far it'd be the Titleist #1, the Cobra, then the Nike. So next up, I think we've got the M1. In terms of the feel, obviously I play with the M1. You know, I tested a couple of drivers myself. You know, for me, TaylorMade for the last few years have been, again, that tinny feel I didn't like that I mentioned before. I played Callaway up until this year, but I feel this is a lot more solid driver. I've gone for the smaller 430 head in the M1. Obviously, there's a couple of different sizes. This is the smaller version. You've got the 460 out as well. Obviously, the M1 now, that's obviously my club of choice. I'd have to put it above the Titleist. In terms of feel for me, again, I like it's a bit more adjustable, the TaylorMade as well, which for my personal points, I like to have that option of tinkering up. There's a bit, obviously, adjustment with the Titleist, but it doesn't, for me, offer enough as the new M1. In terms of feel off the face, again, just pips the Titleist for me, personally. So, but let's see what I've got left now. So Next up, finally we've got the Ping G30, the standard Ping G30. This is a 10.5 regular, so again, I'm going to have to try and swing this pretty easy. But obviously the last thing I'm concerned about, because I know it's not my spec, this club, is distance. I'm just trying to give you a review on my personal preference on feel, looks-wise. You know, obviously, numbers are great, but you've got to also like what you're hitting. As I said earlier in the video, I don't like that tinny feel. And so straight away after one shot, I can tell whether I'm going to like the club or not. So let's have a whack with this again. This is a black head. Looks pretty nice behind the golf ball. So let's give it a little whack. I was saying I have to hit this pretty easy because it's quite a soft club, this one. So pretty straight. Obviously it's not going to go particularly very far. One thing to say about the Ping there, as I said before about the tinny feel, that actually feels like it comes off the face pretty fast compared to some of the others. So that's quite a nice sort of feel straight away with the Ping. So just hit another one. So it looks behind the ball, looks really nice. Pretty consistent results there. Strikes are very similar. Again, Ping-wise, again, it feels really, really fast off the face. I know this is quite a popular driver, the G30. You can see why. I love the blue with the black as well. Where would I put this personally in the list? So obviously I had my M1. I put that top, followed by the Titleist and the Cobra. I think this would probably have to slot in between the Cobra and Titleist. So this would be just below the Titleist really, but just ahead of the Cobra. Again, I really like the Cobra. Obviously got a nice hailstorm coming down there. Glad I'm not outside doing this quick review. So, of the ones I've tested so far, I could definitely, personally would rule out the Nike straight away. Didn't really like that at all, had that kind of weak feel to it. The Cobra FlyZ Plus, again, very good choice. Very attractive looking club. The Titleist is again, obviously we know Titleist always make a classic looking driver. So apart from, obviously we know the M1, that's what I use now. Ignoring that one, the Titleist for me personally would come out on top, purely down for reasons like feel off the face, looks behind the golf ball. Again, they're hugely important. You know, I'll say numbers are great, but the feel and looks is definitely key as well. Being completely honest with you guys, even if they work all to my spec, I don't think there'd be much in terms of distance-wise. Modern clubs, they kind of reach their limit on how, certainly obviously we know they're regulated how hot they can come off the face. You've just got to make your judgment on feel. And again, so a couple of clubs are more adjustable than others, which I personally think is a good thing. So again, when you come into picking your club, it's whether you like the look. That's a massive key, obviously, and getting the right fitting for you as well.
Okay guys, so hopefully you enjoyed that Luke reviewing those clubs. As always, a review is just to help you make your mind up. All the clubs that have been tested here today are available from Lee in Ross-on-Sea. Just pop down there. They're all demo clubs. He's got a range of different shafts, different heads to suit your particular style of swing. We've got the launch monitor here for you to hire for an hour, get your numbers, bring a few different clubs down with you. As I say, all the clubs are there. Just see which is best for you. And we're all about helping you improve your golf. So bring some down, have a go, and see which is best for you. You can get in touch with either of us via Twitter or by calling us up. So hopefully you've learned something, and we look forward to seeing you here.